people? Hello. What's up? Okay, back with another 5-minute client review. Today we are going to discuss a client that came to me who has insulin-driven PCOS. She has estrogen dominance. She's got inflammation. She's got quite a bit of stuff going on. The client's symptoms when they came to me, as well as they felt bad, irregular cycles, irregular digestion. There's some binge eating issues. There's some anxiety issues. The client has a very high stress job. So just a lot on her, basically. And so she's never been real successful with maintaining any kind of diet structure because the stress causes the binge eating, causes her to derail, and then she just stops, and then, you know, starts over every few months. So we're really working hard to reduce that and not have that happen this time. So I'm meeting her in the middle on a lot of things. It's going to take a longer time, and she's okay with that. We've had several discussions about where mindset needs to be for this to be successful, that it is going to take a little bit longer time to get where she wants to be because we can't maybe push as hard because I don't want to induce any more binge eating, basically. So let's get started. Let's look at the labs here. So page 1 here is glucose, A1c, and insulin. Again, another perfect example of why it's so important to check insulin. If you just pulled this and you looked at it and you looked at her glucose and you looked at her A1c, both of those are in normal range. But if you go down into the bottom and you look at her insulin, it's an 8.8. That is above normal. That is higher than where insulin needs to be. It should be between 3 and 6. So insulin is up. That's why it's so important to check this. So we've got some issues going on, because what happens is insulin will secrete until basically it fatigues out the cells of the pancreas, and then the glucose can no longer stay low and it starts to skyrocket, and we have type 2 diabetes. So if we can catch it before that glucose skyrockets to that number and get that insulin under control, we can reduce our chances of actually having diabetes or any of these insulin-driven diagnoses or diseases or whatever comes with it. So also you'll notice on here her ALT, that is a liver enzyme. So it is up as well, and that's telling us that there's some inflammation that the liver is having to take care of. It's pushing a little bit harder right now to try and filter some of that out. So that's sign number 1 that we've got inflammation going on. All right, moving to the next page here. Here is where we discovered for sure that it is insulin-driven PCOS. You go here and you look at her FSH and her LH. You can see that that's a 3-to-1 ratio, right? The FSH is 3.2, the LH is 10.4. That's a 3-to-1 ratio. That's a telltale sign of PCOS. Then we also look at her estrogen and progesterone levels. So she is estrogen dominant, and it is relative estrogen dominant, meaning her estrogen, in relation of her estrogen to progesterone levels, she is estrogen dominant because her progesterone is so low. This is also what is contributing to her binge eating and her feelings of anxiety, depression, overwhelming type feelings. When your progesterone is low and you're not getting those big surges of progesterone in the luteal phase of your cycle, you are not getting the balancing out of the estrogen. Estrogen is a very excitatory hormone. So if we have anxiety and we're estrogen dominant, it is just going to exacerbate those feelings of anxiety, depression, whatever it is, that the overwhelming feeling, and that's what this client feels, is overwhelmed a lot. It's going to exacerbate those feelings. Progesterone and estrogen balance each other out. So if we're not getting those levels of progesterone, as I was saying a minute ago, progesterone is a calming, relaxing hormone. It is just going to, again, exacerbate all those feelings and just make them even worse. On top of, we're not getting that big surge of those neurotransmitters, the dopamine, the serotonin, all that kind of stuff during that luteal phase with the progesterone surge to help us make us feel better. So it's kind of like a double whammy here. All right, moving on to the next page. On this one, we see cholesterol is high as well. Again, this is due, we've got some inflammation going on in her system that we need to address for sure. Thyroid, though, looks pretty good. Not in a lot of issues here. It's mostly gut and hormone health on this guy. Last page, vitamin D is super low. We need to get that up as well. And again, vitamin D is huge for brain function and helping with those neurotransmitters, the ones I just spoke of, the dopamine, the serotonin, the GABA. So if this is low, your body's having a hard time producing those on top of not getting the progesterone surge, having the estrogen up, and having the inflammation in the system. So it's a perfect storm here of a lot of stuff going on that's just making her feel really, really bad. And that's about it on this guy. There's a couple other things, but nothing to address in this conversation with you guys. We're just hitting the big dominoes in this conversation. So the plan with her is, we're going to do training 3 times a week, at 30 minutes a piece. She's going to walk. We're going to carb cycle her, and try and pull some carbs down on some days, elevate them on other days. We're going to put in some, Are going to put in some strategies to reduce the binging as well to help elevate the protein. And one major, sorry, my nose is itching, major key component that I forgot to say at the beginning is this client is vegan. So vegan diets typically are very high inflammatory diets. They are not helping anything, especially this one. She was eating a lot of soy. She's estrogen dominant. That's not a good combination. The soy is just elevating that estrogen even more, which is contributing to her feeling like shit, basically. Typically, a lot of vegan diets, vegetarian diets are highly processed because we're eating the soy, the tempeh, the fake bean burgers or whatever it is that you're eating, that stuff is just absolutely terrible for you. So we have that inflammation of her diet that she's been eating this way, I think for at least about the last 3 years, that we're going to have to undo some of that as well. So I've gotten her to come off of the vegan diet. I've gotten her to put some fish in, pull the soy out, and start to incorporate some other things to help her hit her numbers, her protein numbers and vegetables and things like that, but reducing the inflammation and helping her meet her goals. So that's basically where we are at with this client. It's a very interesting case. I like it. She's already starting to feel a whole lot better, and we're moving in the right direction. It's just going to be slow. Hormones aren't quick to heal, just like they're not quick to go into the shitstorm that they are. It takes some time. So I went a little bit over on this guy. It's not quite 5 minutes, but I hope you find this interesting. And if you have any questions about any of my programming, you can go to CynthiaWilliamsWellness.com and check out all my info. Thanks. See you later.